Hey YouTubers, Darren here from Grass Ranch Garage. YouTube, I'm Darren with Grass Ranch Garage, and this is another tech tip. This is for you John Deere guys out there. Now, John Deere parts are pretty expensive. We know this. They cost a bit of money. The tractor itself costs a bit of money, especially if you buy a good one from a John Deere dealer and not from the big box stores. Replacement parts for John Deere's are expensive. You 9 times out of 10 have to go to John Deere to get the parts that you need. However, I'm here to let you all in on something. There are aftermarket parts out there, but they're not labeled for John Deere. And here's a good example. Let's say you have a John Deere Sabre like I'm working on now with one of these switches. This one's off of an AYP, but it's a Delta style key switch. Well, this is pretty expensive because you have to go to John Deere to get it. Or not. For a lot of the Sabre John Deeres, you can use an Oregon 33397, which is an AYP key switch. And the number for that is 158913. Now, the John Deere key switch that you're going to get with the AYP number is actually a typical generic lawnmower key switch. It's going to have the nut that you have to screw on top. However, the opening in the dash is going to be rather large because it had the plastic Delta style clip-in ignition key. However, I was able to save the bezel, line it up with the key switch, so that the markings on the bezel and the positions on the key switch are exactly the same. It plugs right in, it works great, and it looks not quite as good as factory, but better than it would if you had to rivet a piece of metal over this dash, drill a hole, and then place a new key switch in there. You will, however, have to disassemble, gut, and cut off parts of the original switch housing. Since this was no good anymore, I really didn't mind doing this, to get the bezel. Then you drill out the center of the bezel to fit the opening for the key switch, put the washer and nut on, and then you've got a pretty good aftermarket replacement for your John Deere key switch. Hopefully this will save you guys a lot of trouble and headaches if you ever need to replace your key switch and you don't feel like forking over the $30 for a John Deere part. Yes, I would recommend getting the John Deere key switch, but these aftermarket key switches work very well and they're of the same, if not better quality than what you would get from the manufacturer. So don't be worried about using aftermarket key switches. You can do it. It does take some time and it will require a little bit of effort. Now, in order to get the bezel to stick the way it is, because you'll be cutting off the clips, it'll just pop out once you attach the key switch to it. So what I did was I ran a bead of black weather strip adhesive along the bottom side of the bezel and then placed the key switch back onto the dash. As far as removing this for future service, it's very easy to just take a flat razor, cut underneath the bezel, cut through the silicone, weather strip adhesive, and pull the entire ignition key straight out of the dash. And you won't have to unscrew the 8 Phillips head screws that undoubtedly will be rusted out, stripped, and not want to come out for you. I hope you guys found this helpful. Hopefully it'll save you guys a little bit of money, and hopefully you'll be a little bit better off in the long run. It actually eases your services up a little bit more if you ever have to replace that key switch. So I'm Darren with Grass Ranch Garage, and this has been your Tech Tip.